An Avengers movie has always meant one thing: Earth's most powerful heroes standing together against a threat. This time, raw strength alone is not enough. Incursions are colliding, realities are collapsing, and Dr. Doom is waiting in the shadows, pulling strings. But here is what nobody talks about. What if none of the heroes we know are actually at the top of the power scale? And what if the strongest being has been hidden in plain sight the entire time? We have seen gods fall, planets destroyed, and entire armies wiped out by single characters, and the multiverse saga has only raised the ceiling even higher, with reality manipulators, cosmic entities, and beings described as having the power of 1,000 exploding suns. So it feels logical to believe that we have already seen the peak of power in the MCU, but that assumption is exactly where the truth begins to break. When you introduce the multiverse, the concept of strongest changes completely. No matter how strong a character looks, there is always someone beyond them, somewhere else. Incursions prove this because entire realities collapse, not from brute force, but from imbalance, and that detail is not accidental power in Avengers. Doomsday is not about who hits hardest, it's about who can exist beyond the rules of reality itself. And that is where this ranking truly begins. So instead of ranking heroes based on popularity or screen time, this list focuses purely on power potential, who can change outcomes, who can survive impossible events, and who can reshape the multiverse itself from the shadows. Some of these placements may shock you, and others will completely change how you view the future of the MCU, especially when we reach number 1, because that character makes even Dr. Doom look small, and that reveal answers the question we opened with at the very beginning. Before we reach the top, we have to start with a legend, someone who has been part of the MCU since day 1, and yet still remains relevant even in the multiverse era, which alone is impressive. This character has fought gods, monsters, and titans, and still stands tall among cosmic threats. So let's begin this ranking with number 5. A warrior many people underestimate. But the MCU itself has never stopped respecting Thor Odinson. And what comes next proves why he still matters. Number 5 on this list is Thor Odinson. And this placement might surprise some people, but that reaction alone proves how long Thor has stayed relevant. Because after the entire multiverse saga, a Phase 1 character still ranking among the most powerful beings in existence is not normal. Thor is not just muscle. He is legacy experience and raw mythological force, and Avengers Doomsday may finally remind audiences why the MCU has always treated him differently. Thor is the protector of the 9 realms, and even at a young age, he fought and won thousands of wars. He defeated the strongest warriors of Jotunheim, and humiliated Laufey in his own home, feats that established him as a god, before he ever became an Avenger. His durability alone separates him from most heroes. Because in the Avengers, Hulk was knocked unconscious by a massive fall, while Thor took the same impact and stayed fully conscious, showing a clear power gap. Before Infinity War, Thor was the only character in the MCU to directly endure the power of a fully active Infinity Stone during the events of the Dark World. And instead of collapsing, he mocked its wielder by saying he expected a stronger hit. And that detail matters because Infinity Stones are not weapons. They are forces of reality itself. Infinity War then pushed Thor to his limits, turning every scene into overwhelming displays of strength, speed, and godly endurance. One of the most overlooked details in Infinity War is Thanos' choice of restraint. Thanos knew Bruce Banner and Hulk since the Battle of New York. Yet when the Black Order attacked, it was Thor who was restrained, not Banner. Because even a master strategist like Thanos understood who posed the greater long-term threat, that decision was not random, it was calculated. And it confirms that Thor has always been viewed as a priority threat, even among cosmic-level beings. Thor ranks at number 5, not because he is weak, but because his true ceiling has not been fully unlocked. Yet Avengers Doomsday could change that entirely if Thor gains access to the ancient runes and the Odin Force. His power level would skyrocket instantly, and that possibility alone keeps him in the top-tier conversation. Because Thor is one upgrade away from rewriting this entire list, and that is why his placement matters more than people realize. Number 4 is where this list stops feeling safe, because this is where raw power becomes unstable. The Golden God Sentry is not just strong, he is dangerous in a way. Few MCU characters have ever been when people ask how Sentry can rank above Thor. The answer is simple on paper. Sentry has more raw destructive output, and unlike Thor, he does not have a moral compass holding him back, which makes every appearance a potential disaster. In terms of sheer force, Thor and Sentry are close enough to make comparisons fair. But the difference is, Control Thor fights with purpose, honor, and restraint. Sentry does not. His power has always been described as overwhelming, uncontrollable, and limitless, which is why his presence instantly changes the balance of any battlefield. When Sentry attacks, there is no strategy, no warning, and no negotiation. Just pure annihilation that escalates until something breaks. What truly makes Sentry terrifying is his mind. He is a mental time bomb carrying God-level power, and when he loses control, the only being capable of stopping him is himself. Otherwise, it requires God-tier entities just to contain the damage. And this detail matters, because Avengers Doomsday is built around chaos, incursions, collapsing realities, and pressure-pushing characters beyond limits. Sentry fits that environment perfectly, and that is not a coincidence. Sentry has not yet received enough screen time in the MCU to fully demonstrate his capabilities, but that silence is intentional. Avengers Doomsday is the perfect stage to unleash him, because the story demands a character who can fill an impossible power gap during an incursion. And Marvel has already described Sentry as holding the power of 1,000 exploding suns, which is not exaggeration, it is narrative positioning. Sentry ranks above Thor because he represents something new in the MCU: uncontrolled power, without rules and without limits, and that changes everything. Once he enters the story, alliances become fragile strategies, collapse, and victory becomes unpredictable because power without stability is more dangerous than power with purpose. And Sentry embodies that danger completely, which is why his role in Doomsday may redefine how the MCU handles God-level characters going forward. Number 3 is where power stops being about strength and starts becoming about control. Victor Von Doom is not the kind of villain who overwhelms you in the first battle. Instead, he studies, adapts, and evolves. Doom is dangerous because he is patient, and Avengers Doomsday gives him the perfect environment. Incursions, chaos, and multiversal collapse are not obstacles for Doom. They are opportunities, and that mindset alone places him above most beings on this list. What makes Doom truly terrifying is balance. He rivals Reed Richards in scientific intellect and stands toe-to-toe with Doctor Strange in magic. Very few characters in the MCU or Marvel history can dominate both worlds. Doom does not choose between science and sorcery, he masters both, and that combination allows him to counter almost any threat, because no matter how powerful his enemy is, Doom can always find a way to neutralize or exploit them. One detail that should not be ignored is the device mounted on Doom's chestplate, a machine designed to absorb and replicate the powers of other beings. And in his first appearance, sharp-eyed fans noticed symbols resembling Mjolnir and Kree energy, which strongly suggests Doom has already defeated Thor, and Captain Marvel variants in another universe. That implication alone means Doom may enter Doomsday, already powered by fallen gods. Doom is not a villain you defeat once and move on from. Every confrontation makes him stronger, because he learns, adapts, and steals power with each encounter. He is the MCU version of All for One. Everything great belongs to him, and every battle adds another weapon to his arsenal. This escalation matters, because by the end of Avengers Doomsday, Doom may not just be a threat, he may be an unavoidable force. The true danger of Doom is not where he starts, but where he ends. If he successfully absorbs the abilities of multiple high-tier beings during the chaos of incursions, he could ascend into God. Emperor Doom, a ruler powerful enough to dominate reality itself. And that possibility changes the stakes entirely, because once Doom reaches that level, defeating him may require someone who stands beyond gods, beyond strategy, and beyond power as we understand it. Number 2 is where power stops making sense. God Loki is no longer just a character in the MCU. He is a contradiction walking through reality. Loki should not exist. His future self died yet. His past self escaped that fate and evolved into something entirely new. Avengers Doomsday inherits a Loki who has stepped beyond destiny, beyond timelines, and beyond the rules that govern existence itself, and that alone places him above nearly everyone. Inside the TVA, normal space-time laws do not apply. Infinity Stones are powerless. Magic fails, and even the smartest minds like Victor Timely and OB could not explain what was happening yet. Loki could time slip freely. That detail was not accidental, because it proves Loki is operating on a level that transcends systems designed to control the multiverse if something works where nothing should that something is no longer bound by reality. Loki did not just manipulate time. He survived the complete annihilation of the multiverse and then reversed it. His time slipping pushed him beyond normal existence, exposing him to extreme temporal radiation, aging him billions of years in moments. By the time he reached the end of time, Loki was effectively older than civilizations, older than universes, and that experience reshaped him into something closer to a cosmic constant than a god. Loki is now a living paradox. He cannot be erased because erasing him would unravel the structure he holds together. He cannot truly die because his existence is tied to the flow of time itself. Avengers, Doomsday is dealing with incursions, collapsing realities, and broken timelines, and Loki is the one being who exists outside all of that because he should not exist yet. Somehow he does. Despite all of this, Loki is still not number one, and that is the most terrifying part, because even with godlike control over time and survival beyond multiversal collapse, there is someone whose existence makes even Loki look limited. Someone who does not bend reality, but rewrites it effortlessly. And the reason Loki does not hold the top spot will make everything we have discussed so far feel small. Number 1 is not a god, not a king, and not a conqueror. Franklin Richards is something far more dangerous because his power does not come from training technology or stolen abilities. It comes naturally, effortlessly, and without limits. Avengers Doomsday does not need to introduce him loudly because his reputation already echoes across Marvel history. And once you understand what Franklin can do, every other power ranking instantly collapses. Even Dr. Doom, at his absolute peak, understood the truth during Secret Wars. When Doom possessed the powers of the Beyonders, he still made sure Franklin Richards was on his side because Doom knew something critical. His godhood was temporary, but Franklin's power was fundamental Doom. With stolen cosmic authority was still only comparable to a base-level child Franklin. And that detail alone should terrify anyone who thinks Doom is the final threat. At the end of Secret Wars, Franklin Richards did something no Avenger, no god, and no cosmic entity had ever accomplished. He recreated the multiverse itself, not repaired, not altered, but rebuilt from nothing. That act places him above incursions, above reality collapse, and above multiversal destruction. Because Franklin does not fight consequences, he replaces them. And in the MCU context, that power is the ultimate solution to everything Doomsday is building toward. Even before Franklin could speak, he demonstrated power great enough to replace Galactus and rewrite death itself. Which means baby Franklin already stood above cosmic entities that define existence itself, and that is before growth training or understanding. This is not potential. This is baseline. And when a character begins above Galactus, the normal rules of escalation no longer apply, because nothing can threaten someone who exists beyond the food chain of reality. The most unsettling part of Franklin Richards is that he holds back by choice in the comics. Franklin can instantly age himself into adulthood, but chooses to remain a child, because once he reaches full maturity, reality becomes boring to him. The peak of Dr. Doom, the chaos of incursions, and the collapse of universes are nothing more than background noise to Franklin, which means the strongest being in Avengers. Doomsday is not fighting to win. He is choosing when to care. Before closing the loop, it is important to talk about the characters who did not crack the top 5, but are still powerful enough to change the outcome of Avengers Doomsday, because these are not side players. These are wildcards, beings who could stop incursions, reshape timelines, or even challenge Doom under the right circumstances, and ignoring them would miss the bigger picture of how dangerous this story truly is. Doctor Strange remains one of the most versatile forces in the MCU, not because of raw strength, but because of knowledge, experience, and sacrifice after interacting with the Darkhold. Strange understands realities that most heroes cannot even perceive, And while the Darkhold corrupted him, it also expanded his awareness of multiversal rules and consequences, which means in Doomsday Strange is not just casting spells. He is making calculated moves based on futures others cannot see. Scarlet Witch operates on a completely different frequency. She does not manipulate reality. She rewrites its rules across entire universes. Wanda has already proven she can overpower sorcerers, artifacts, and cosmic defenses with pure will and emotion. And that matters because incursions are not logical events. They are emotional collapses of balance and chaos. Wanda thrives in that space, which makes her one of the few beings capable of matching doom or altering an inevitable outcome. Rachel Summers is the quiet wild card, rumored to appear in Avengers Doomsday. And if that happens, everything changes as a powerful mutant connected to the Phoenix Force. Rachel exists at the intersection of time telepathy and cosmic energy. She does not just fight threats, she senses them before they happen. And that foresight combined with raw mutant power makes her one of the most dangerous unseen players in the entire multiverse narrative. What connects Doctor Strange, Scarlet Witch, and Rachel Summers is not power alone, but relevance. Each of them operates in spaces where incursions begin knowledge, chaos, and time. And that means they are not reacting to Doomsday. They are part of its foundation. And if any one of them makes the wrong choice, the multiverse collapses faster. But if they align correctly, even Doom himself may face limits he cannot overcome. Now, here is why this ranking actually matters. Because Avengers Doomsday is not about heroes winning fights. It is about reality. Surviving choices. Every character on this list represents a different way to confront collapse. Thor fights it. Sentry explodes it. Doom exploits it. Loki stabilizes it. And Franklin replaces it entirely. And that contrast reveals the real theme of Doomsday power is no longer measured by destruction, but by control over existence itself. There is a pattern. Most fans miss. The higher you go on this list, the less physical combat matters. Thor swings weapons, Sentry unleashes force, Doom steals abilities, Loki anchors timelines, and Franklin rewrites reality. This progression is intentional. Marvel is slowly shifting away from spectacle fights toward cosmic decision makers, and that shift explains why Avengers Doomsday feels less like a war movie and more like a judgment day for the multiverse. Dr. Doom believes power is something that can be claimed, stolen, and ruled. But Franklin Richards proves the opposite power can simply exist without permission. And that philosophical clash is the true endgame. Doom represents control through dominance. Franklin represents creation without effort. And if Avengers Doomsday sets these two on a collision course, the result will not be a battle. It will be a choice about who deserves to shape reality going forward. Loki sits between Doom and Franklin for a reason. He understands ambition and sacrifice. He has lived as a villain, a hero. And now as a cosmic anchor, Loki is the bridge between control and creation. And that makes him the most important narrative character in Doomsday, because he may be the only one capable of deciding when Franklin should intervene, and when Doom must be allowed to fall. At the beginning we asked who truly stands at the top of the power scale. And now the answer is clear. The strongest being is not the one who fights hardest or survives the longest. It is the one who can end the story whenever they choose. Franklin Richards is not just powerful, he is the final safeguard of the multiverse, and that revelation changes how you should watch Avengers Doomsday from this moment forward. If Avengers Doomsday follows the pattern Marvel has been building, then the final conflict will not be solved by a punch or a beam in the sky. It will be solved by a decision, a sacrifice, or a creation. And that is why Franklin Richards has not been introduced loudly yet, because once he appears, the story no longer belongs to the Avengers, it belongs to the future of existence itself. And that shift is exactly what Marvel wants to shock audiences with. Dr. Doom will not lose because he is weaker. He will lose because his philosophy fails. Doom believes power must be owned, controlled, and taken. But incursions cannot be conquered. They must be resolved. And the moment Doom realizes that his stolen power cannot stop reality from collapsing is the moment Franklin becomes necessary. And that is where Doom faces his greatest fear, not defeat, but irrelevance. Loki will be the one who opens the door to Franklin, not through force, but through trust. Loki understands consequences better than any character alive, and he knows that unleashing Franklin is not a victory. It is a reset, and that decision will cost Loki everything he has built, which completes his arc from trickster to guardian, and proves that the most powerful choice in the MCU is not strength, but restraint. If you are still watching right now, it means you care about these details. And this is exactly the kind of story Marvel rewards careful viewers with. So if you enjoy breaking down hidden power structures and future theories like this, subscribing is how you stay ahead of the curve, because Avengers Doomsday is not going to explain everything on screen, and the real story will always live between the lines. No matter how this movie unfolds, one thing is clear. The multiverse saga is not ending with a bang. It is ending with a choice about who should shape reality and who should step aside. And that question is what truly makes Avengers Doomsday the most important Marvel movie since Endgame. Because when this story ends, the MCU will never look the same again. So now the real question belongs to you. Do you agree that Franklin Richards stands above every god, every hero, and every villain we have discussed? Or do you believe someone else deserves that top position? Maybe a character we have not even seen yet? Because Marvel has a habit of hiding its most important players in silence, and Avengers Doomsday feels like the moment where one unexpected reveal could change everything we think we know. Was Thor ranked too low? Or is his future power upgrade being underestimated? Is Sentry too dangerous to control? Should Doom ever be allowed to reach God Emperor status? And is Loki truly a savior? Or just the final gatekeeper before reality resets? These are not simple power questions. They are moral ones. And that is why this movie will divide fans long after the credits roll. So drop your theories, because this story is bigger than one opinion. What makes Avengers Doomsday special is not spectacle, but consequence. Every choice matters, every intervention has a cost, and every powerful being on this list represents a different answer to the same problem. How do you save everything without becoming the thing that destroys it? And that theme is what elevates this movie beyond a normal crossover into something closer to myth. And that is why fans will be talking about it for years. If this breakdown changed how you see the power scale, or helped you notice details you might have missed, then supporting the channel helps keep these deep dives coming. Because Marvel rewards the fans who pay attention, and this community is built around asking the questions the movies want you to think about. So if you enjoy uncovering the hidden layers behind these stories, you already know what to do. No matter who you believe is the strongest one, truth remains. Avengers. Doomsday is not about winning. It is about deciding who deserves the future. And once that decision is made, the multiverse will never be the same again. This is Cena. And until the next theory, remember, power is not about strength, it is about choice peace.